Okay, I fear I must ramble. I must rant because this is gonna be on my mind for days and bothering me if I don't. But I've been working towards opening commissions for like 5 days now, right? And in all of the videos that I was watching that was about how to open commissions, one thing that they kept saying, right? Even in a video that I watched that wasn't about opening commissions but was just about art YouTube drama, they kept saying word for word, art is not art is a luxury. Art is not a necessity, right? And in this capitalist world that we live in, I understand what they mean, right? You have to make money to survive. And art takes a lot of time and energy and labor and years of knowledge and studying and experience to be able to create something, right? And so the entire point of saying art is not a necessity, art is a luxury, is so that artists price fairly and they don't undervalue their work, thus leading to more of the world also undervaluing art. But on the anthropological side of that, art is not a luxury, it is a necessity, right? And I just saw a post on Instagram that it basically said art is not some little hobby that you do when you come home from work that you make time for. Art is a calling, art is a biological need, right? And I was like, oh my god, yes, finally somebody that agrees with me, I think. And so I opened the comments to see what other people are saying. And all of the comments that I am seeing, except for like one, we're seeing you're putting pressure on artists to make them try to level up their art or like live up to some unattainable expectation. One comment even said, people have lost objective perspective, therefore all art is now meaningless, which is crazy. There's a whole lot of crazy backworms. But essentially, everybody was missing the point because nobody knows how to be nuanced anymore. Or at least it feels like that. People can't seem to comprehend the idea of two things being true at once. It's always has to be like a binary or black and white. It's either this thing or it's not that thing and it's something else. It's like, huh? Two things can be true at once, which is literally what I just said. We're in this capitalist world we live in, art is indeed a luxury and not a necessity. But on a human level, art is a necessity, it's not a luxury, right? And if we did not live in a capitalist economy the way we do, we wouldn't be saying that. Like, the way people envision a post-capitalist world, it's always talking about how I'll have more time on my hands to do art and create stuff and consume art, right? And then there's that like one viral meme that's like, I thought that the robots would do my laundry and chores while I got to make art, not I did my laundry and chores while the robots got to make art, right? And I replied to this post that I saw, right? And it wasn't like replying to the post, it was mostly replying to all the people who, from my perspective, were completely misunderstanding the point of the original post, and just lacking nuance. And it's a novel by a lot of means, but I'm gonna read it. I said, I think a lot of you are missing the point. If you want to call it a hobby, that's fine, but what I think the poster is saying is more along the lines of, in this world we live in, we're told that doing art is not as important as a job or family. We're told that it is something you either have to squeeze in around the important stuff or just forget about. And then I go on to say, but by biological need, the poster is referring to the hundreds of thousands of years we have in anthropological evidence showing that art is something important to us as a species. Humans have a drive to create. We always have had it. From tools to cave art to clothes to homes to stories, creation is something very human. And in our modern world, many of us don't get the time, energy, or privilege to undertake that creation process we're naturally inclined to. Many people put down their art because they need to work to survive. Others quit because they're repeatedly told they need to equate to the old masters or their art is valueless. With the rise of generative AI and the mechanization of many crafts, creation is becoming more and more automated and being taken out of the hands of people. Those same people are then made to work harder and harder for less and less, all while the very human act of creation is undertaken by machines. Language is powerful, and those who know that know exactly what words to use to belittle something. Years of the starving artist stereotype, people being outraged by the price of handmade works, and being told art is just a hobby and nothing else, is all leading to a path of art itself being devalued. Yes, art can be a hobby, but it's not just that, it's a lot more. Right? And I feel like I was pretty clear on what I'm saying. Nobody has replied yet because this all happened less than 10 minutes ago. But like, what everything I'm saying, I've already said in more words before I read out my comment. And by saying the way the world views art as just a quote unquote little hobby is a thing meant to belittle what we do, right? And infantilize it. Because when you're children in like preschool, daycare, nursery, whatever, you're encouraged to do art. You're encouraged to do finger painting and drawing and making collages and the little macaroni in glue craft you see people do sometimes, right? You're encouraged to do that. But as you grow older, you're expected to either put it aside completely or minimize it and just make it a thing you do sometimes. Art isn't really seen as valuable and profitable for some reason sometimes in the wider world. Like exactly what I said, where oh god, where is it? Yeah, years of the starving artist stereotype, people being outraged by the price of handmade works and being told art is just a hobby and nothing else, is all leading to the path of art itself being devalued. People being outraged by the price of stuff because you live in a world of convenience where you could just order something for $1 online, and it's something that took hours to make and like a lot of underpaid or unpaid labor, right? And so people expect things to be convenient, things to be cheap, especially if they think it looks like it shouldn't be that expensive, right? And which is all leading to the undervaluing of art. And it feeds into this entire cycle of, oh, people think handmade artisanal works should not be that expensive. They think it's too expensive and the price can't be justified. And that leads to people either underselling themselves or encouraging others to undersell themselves because, well, the vast majority of people think art should be cheaper and they're not willing to pay a higher price. So therefore, if we want to be paid, we have to price lower. And when the lower you price, that then feeds back into the idea of art should not be expensive, it should be cheap. And people don't think about the time and effort that it goes into making up the art, right? And that's one of the ways in which art is being belittled. And the other way is through the language of just calling it a hobby. Like, yes, art can be a hobby for you. If that's how you want to do it, that's fine. Nobody is saying that art is not a hobby. And nobody is saying that you have to live up to these expectations. You have to be something bigger and grander in order to do art. Art can just be a hobby. But on a human level, it's not just a hobby, it's an innate human thing that we have. We all have it, even if some of us feel that we don't, right? By calling art a little hobby, it it changes something in your mind. Continue, like when you keep calling it just a hobby, therefore calling it just a thing that you do on the side that could be devalued or undervalued or not that important, people are more likely to not value it, right? And oh god, I'm not doing my words correctly, but what I'm trying to get to is that by repeatedly calling art a hobby and feeding into the starving artist stereotype, it's very much leading to people being more susceptible to adopting generative AI as like a okay thing, right? To where you have companies not bothering to hire an artist, but they're just going throw a prompt into something and slap that up on their ads, right? Because they don't value art at all. It's just a little hobby. It's not important. Okay? What is important is for you to put that hobby down and go and work. And just work and work and work until you die. Just work and work so that the people above you get paid while you barely do. And not only do you not have time for art, you also don't have time to like fight back against what is happening. And there's other ways in which art is important, because art is not just about pretty things. It's also be used as a form of resistance, and we know that. We have always known that. But if people keep devaluing art the way that a lot of people would benefit from, a lot of rich people, then people become miserable and less likely to resist and do something about the world that they live in and try to change it. Which is another thing that the post was calling for, because when I went to scroll back on the poster's page, a lot of what they were posting was talking, it was like trying to encourage people to create and use their innate need to create stuff, to create things that show resistance or speak out against a lot of the ills of the world. But nobody is getting it. Nobody can be nuanced. Everybody heard them say, because let me go find the post actually. God. Okay. The first slide says, your art is not a hobby. It's not a nice thing to do after work if you can somehow summon the energy. Creation is a human need, but you're told it's an indulgence. That's the first slide, right? It's right there. I went on a long rambling rant when it's literally right there, but you're told it's an indulgence. You're told it's an indulgence because it gets you to stop. It gets you to feed into generative AI and not making art yourself. I know this is kind of turning into a thing where I'm like, capitalism bad, we must abolish it. Which, to be honest, even in school, every single one of my essays eventually turns into that for some reason. But am I wrong? The second slide says creativity is a biological need, not a little hobby. Third slide, your art is not a hobby, it's a calling. And the last slide repeats the same thing, right? People can't read, apparently. They're seeing this last two slides that say your art is not a hobby, it's a calling, and thinking that this poster is calling for everybody to become some sort of anti-capitalist, anti-fascist, anti-establishment, resistance artist, and putting these big expectations on their shoulders. They're not. They're saying, all they're really saying is, don't devalue your art. Don't just look at it as an indulgence. It's a human thing that we all share, and it's important. is not just a little hobby. It can be that for you, yes, but treating it, all of art, like that, all of it, is just, it's gonna negatively impact the world in the long run. Anyways, that was my TED Talk. Okay, so there was that long ramble. I did that this morning as I was getting ready to leave, and now it's like almost 1 a.m. the next day, and I am editing the video together. Why did my phone freeze? Oh, okay. This was not intended to be my first video on YouTube. My plan was to make a PNG tuber, but not necessarily using whatever programs they use. Just a couple of static PNGs that I can manipulate to make it look like I'm talking or moving. Yeah, that was my plan. And then I saw that post this morning and I had to ramble about it, and I ended up rambling for 15 minutes, and then I cut the audio and left. And even after I left, there were still lingering thoughts, which those are on the screen now. I wrote those down in Google Docs. You're welcome. And all of this time has passed and I have yet to introduce myself. So, I'm Ross. You can also call me Salt. There's a lot of ums, and I don't like that. I'm a digital artist, I am a writer, and I am a world builder. Or at least those are like the parts of myself I want to share on this channel. And so, in the coming days, whenever I finally manage to get it done, you're gonna see more videos. I might make more of these like quick rant style ones because they're relatively easy to produce. I just have to make enough art time lapses, and also start just like screen recording my drawing process to use that. But yeah, I'm not sure when exactly my little avatar is going to be done, because I have to design it and also create different versions of like expressions and movements in order to make it work. But for now, at least, like I said, I'm probably gonna make more of these rant style ones, and I might make some more structured videos that just utilize different assets, and I just wouldn't have the talking head, and then, you know, slowly over time build up the quote-unquote aesthetic that I want. But yes, that is it from me. Welcome to my channel. I'm doing this all in reverse. Apologies for that. And if you've noticed that I have a slight accent, I do. It's because I'm Caribbean. Have fun with that fact. Bye.